Hi, I'm Frank Cohen, the founder of Clever Moe and Appvance, and an extreme performance test expert. Extreme performance testing identifies when and how a piece of software, say a mobile app, a website, or a system, is going to break under the weight of a bunch of users. I offer extreme performance testing in two ways. First is as of a service. Hire me to create a test of your software identity, where it's going to break, and I work with your engineers and digital agencies to solve the problems before your customers, partners, and employees experience them. Secondly, I make the software I use to run an extreme performance test available either as an open source project or from the commercial company I founded called Appvance. Customers taking advantage of the extreme performance test service include PepsiCo for the Super Bowl, Wynn Casinos for the opening of the Wynn Encore in Las Vegas, Best Buy for Black Friday, Rackspace, and many other organizations, even the U.S. Navy for their command and control systems when they upgraded them on a bunch of their ships. The software I wrote acts like a user would in front of their mobile phone or the browser on their laptop. This virtual user operates your software. And then my test software has essentially a giant knob that you can turn, and instead of one virtual user, you can have 100 million virtual users, and anywhere in between. I invented something I call the scalability index. The virtual users know how to operate your software by writing a test script or using the platform's built-in AI engine to observe how you use your software, and then it writes the script for you. If one of these virtual users takes, say, 1 minute to operate the workflow, then it should take 1 minute for each of 100 virtual users to operate the same workflow. The scalability index shows a typical slowdown for how long it takes to operate each of those workflows as the number of virtual users increases. For example, if everything runs fine at 100 virtual users, but the workflow starts to slow down and take maybe 5 minutes each at 1,000 virtual users, then you can plot this on a scalability index. That scalability index then lets you predict how many people your software and hardware setup can handle. While you might have your own performance testing capability in your IT team, extreme performance testing typically goes well above what you've licensed for your test software team. For example, one of my customers' IT team can run a test at 5,000 virtual users, even though their software typically gets used by 12 million users at the same time. I'm often hired by the brand managers at a company instead of the IT team. And that's because the brand managers have their careers at risk. I mean, what would happen to their careers when a marketing campaign goes viral and the software crashes and burns? Who would hire them after they let something like that out into the world? My extreme performance testing service often is a kind of insurance plan for the brand managers' careers. I'm also often hired as a go-between of the digital advertising agencies that built your software and service. When multiple agencies are involved, often there's a huge amount of finger pointing on which part of the software or service is not scalable. And I have a very good approach that keeps the agencies from becoming defensive, and it keeps them focused on solving the problem. The engagement model for my extreme performance testing service is pretty straightforward. I take a short 1 or 2 hour interview to understand what the virtual users will be doing when they interact with your software. I write a statement of work, which only costs the actual cost of running the extreme performance test. And you should know that I have no boat payment to make in my personal life. It typically takes about 1 to 3 weeks to run an extreme performance test. And I'm involved every step of the way with you and your agencies and developers. Often, an extreme test project has the following phases during those weeks. First, we document. We write a test plan. Then we build the virtual user software that interacts with your code. Then we run a calibration test to make sure that the test equipment is well able to generate the load that your test needs. Then we run the real test. We present the results, work with your engineers to solve the problems that we encounter, and then often we rerun the test a second time, sometimes even a third or fourth. This gives you a guarantee that your software is going to work with your target audience. Years ago, I found that running the combination of an extreme performance test with an SOC2, a SOC 2, or a penetration security test gives you valuable information on how much risk your organization is bearing. You see, hackers have known for a decade or longer that when they run a denial of service attack on your software, and it's loaded down by a whole bunch of virtual users, the software becomes much more vulnerable to their attack. Most of the time then, I run security tests at the same time as an extreme performance test. I'm glad to tell you what Clever Moe and Appvance did for PepsiCo, Wynn Casinos, Best Buy, Rackspace, and many other organizations. Clever Moe does extreme performance testing to guarantee software will work as your project goes viral. Clever Moe does IoT software and hardware development to guarantee your designs will support customers' intentions without being complicated or, say, need a manual. Clever Moe is your competitive analyst, showing your audiences why and how your platform and software gives the best TCO, total cost of ownership, and is the best developer productivity choice. So I urge you, please like and subscribe to this video and channel, and click the notifications bell so you'll learn the latest. Thanks.